So finding a good micro ATX case isn't the easiest job, it's the form factor most neglected by case manufacturers. So today I'm taking a look at ASUS's latest offering. This is their Prime AP202 and it's available in both black and white, and I found it on sale today for just under £100. But is it worth your hard-earned money? Let's dive in and take a closer look. So ASUS have gone with an interesting design choice for the AP202. There's two separate chambers, one at the top behind the tempered glass panel where your motherboard, graphics card and CPU cooler are going to go, and then we've got a separate compartment at the bottom for your power supply and drives. So there's actually no connection between the two compartments, and we've got this large gap on the side and front of the case, and it's to provide a source of airflow into the main compartment. So we've got a curved tempered glass panel on the front and side. It's on rails and it can simply be pulled backwards and lifted away. Our other side panel can be simply tilted out from the top and lifted up and away. Taking a look at the back of this panel, you'll notice we've got a perforated area to provide airflow to our side mounted fans, and you'll notice that ASUS are going with just mesh on the side as there's no additional dust filters. In terms of our front I/O, we've got a power button, two USB Type A ports, a single Type C port, a combined headphone and microphone jack, and a reset button. We've got a dust filter on the top of the case which can simply be tilted up from the back and then lifted up and away. There's no removable bracket at the top of the case, so you're going to have to mount any fans and radiators directly to the top. In terms of radiator mounting, the top is the only place you're going to be able to mount a radiator in this case, and the AP202 will accommodate up to a 360mm radiator, although it is important to say there is no support for 280mm radiators. In terms of fan mounting at the top, it's up to 3 120 or 2 140mm fans. And moving into the main body of the case, you'll see that ASUS have a pre-installed two 120mm PWM ARGB fans on this side of the case, and this is the maximum you're going to be able to fit in this position. If you look closer at these fans, you'll see that these are standard orientated fan blades, so they will be exhausting air out the side of the case, which is a little bit of an unusual choice as most case manufacturers would install reverse blade fans here to act as a source of intake. On the rear of the case, we've got another 120mm PWM ARGB fan pre-installed, and again, this is the maximum you're going to be able to fit here. On the bottom of the case, we've got a removable fan stroke radiator bracket, and on this you're able to fit up to 3 120mm fans. Fans mounted here are designed to get their airflow directly through that large cutout between the two compartments, meaning that they're not going to have to draw air in through the power supply compartment. We've also got a really nice ARGB lighting bar running the full length of this cutout. In terms of motherboard support, the case support motherboards up to micro ATX in size. We don't have any additional cutouts for back connector motherboards, and if you want to go with a CPR cooler, the maximum height supported is up to 175mm. You can see at the rear of the case we've got 4 horizontal expansion slot brackets, and in terms of graphics card support, it's up to a maximum length of 420mm. Despite the fact the case can accommodate such large graphics cards, there is no GPU support bracket included. Moving to the other side of the case, and cable routing space looks to be good at up to 30mm. We've got a central cable raceway with two Velcro cable straps, and we've got plenty of cable tie-down points with plenty of cable ties included in the case accessory bag. And while we're on the case accessory bag, it's great to see that all our screws come individually packaged and labelled with their function. Your power supply is going to go down at the bottom, and the case is compatible with full-sized ATX power supplies up to a maximum length of 200mm. And we've got a simple sheet of mesh to act as a dust filter over our power supply's intake. Down at the bottom at the front of the case, we've got a hard drive cage. It's got two drive trays in it, and on each of these drive trays you're able to mount either a 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drive. So what I want to do now is give you a closer look at the build I put together in the case. Taking a look at our temperatures, our Ryzen 7 9700X idled at 45 degrees and reached a maximum of 78 degrees during a 10-minute IDA64 stability test. The Gigabyte AERO 5070 Ti idled at 30 degrees and reached a maximum of 60 degrees under load. In terms of noise, we had average noise levels of 35 decibels at idle and 47 decibels under load. So moving into the things I liked about the case, and it's great to see case manufacturers making good looking micro ATX cases. Like I've said, this is the form factor that most people neglect. and this is a pretty good case that ASUS have come up with. I like the mechanism for the tempered glass on the front and the side, and having that as a single piece mounted on rails, really easy to get on and off. Just be careful when you are taking it off. When it comes to the end of the rail, it just simply pulls away. So make sure you've got a good grip of it before you pull it all the way to the end of the rail. I also think it's great that the case comes with 3 pre-installed ARGB PWM fans, and all you've got to do is plug one ARGB and one PWM cable into your motherboard, so that really simplifies the installation process. I think the ARGB lighting effects on the cutout between the two compartments looks absolutely stunning, and in terms of cable management, it was really straightforward in this case. So moving on to the things I didn't like about this case, and the first and most major problem that I think this case has is I don't think the airflow works. So we take a look at the pre-installed case fans. You've got 2 exhaust fans on the side of the case taking air out of the case. We've got a fan at the rear of the case taking air out. And if you're going to be installing a radiator, the only place to install it is at the top, and it's also going to be set to exhaust. So this means that the only place you can get air into your case is at the bottom, where you can install up to 3 120mm fans. Now this is what ASUS are marketing this case in terms of airflow. You have 2 separate compartments, you're drawing air directly in through this cutout, so the bottom of the case is going to have unrestricted airflow, and it's going to be great for cooling your graphics card. Now this does work provided that you haven't gone for a massive graphics card like I have here. And if you look at this graphics card, you can see that it is sitting over the entirety of the bottom mounted fans. And previously when I've done tests and you're this close to the fans at the bottom don't really tend to help with cooling, and in some cases they can actually hinder it. The other major problem this gives you, if you take a look at the graphics card, it is blocking all of the intake at the bottom of the case. So our CPU cooler at the top, the only air that it is seeing is air that has gone through the graphics card and been heated up. And at 78 degrees, this is the hottest I've had this CPU running in any build, and it's significantly higher than what I've got in a lot of my recent builds. So where I think ASUS have gone wrong is installing 2 standard blade fans set to exhaust on the side of the case. Most cases that go with this type of orientation will have 2 reverse blade fans bringing cool air into the case. I didn't want to flip these around because the other side of these fans is quite ugly, and I do really think ASUS should have included reverse blade fans on the side of this case. So this choice of going with standard blade fans on the side bring the 2 other problems. We've already got 3 exhaust fans before you add anything else into this case. So by putting an AIO at the top, even if you have installed 3 fans at the bottom, you are going to have a negative pressure in this case, more exhaust than intake. And this means you've got a recipe for drawing dust in through any unfiltered parts of this case. The other issue is it really forces you to install fans at the bottom, given that this is this case's only source of intake. Whenever I started the build, you'll notice in my thumbnail I didn't have a box of fans included in it, and that was I wasn't planning on putting fans at the bottom of this case. Because my graphics card is so large, I knew that putting fans right below it probably wouldn't help with the cooling. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I discovered the fans on the side of the case were actually set to exhaust rather than intake, leaving me no choice but to install fans at the bottom, even though there wasn't a lot of space of them beneath my graphics card. So that's the major complaint. The 2 other minor complaints that I have with this case is if you're going to provide graphics card support up to 420mm, I do think it should include a GPU support bracket, particularly given the fact that we're going to have to put fans at the bottom of the case. And I did struggle to use the GPU support bracket that came with my graphics card because of that. And the final thing I think this case should have included was some rubber grommets over to the right hand side of the motherboard to help hide the cables at the back. So we've now reached the point in the review round to tell you should you go out and pick up this case. Now for just less than £100 for a case that comes with 3 PWM and ARGB fans, a good looking case with a curved tempered glass panel and nice ARGB effects, on paper it does look like you're getting pretty good value for money. It's just the airflow that would make me hesitate to recommend this case, because either you are going to have to replace the fans on the side with reverse blade fans, or you are going to have to turn them around, having the ugly side of the fans on display. If you do leave the case in its standard orientation with the fans, you're definitely going to have to add 3 fans in at the bottom set to intake, and that's only going to work if you don't have a massive graphics card like this for me. So unfortunately for me, when you factor all those things in, it does make it quite hard for me to recommend this case to the average user. Although if you are somebody who absolutely loves it and are prepared to make some modifications with reverse blade fans on the side, I think you can make this case usable, and I think the temperatures would be pretty good provided you had those two fans on the side set to intake rather than exhaust. So if you do want to do a build in the Prime AP202, I have made a full step-by-step build guide to building in this case, and you'll find a link to that video in the description. If you have enjoyed this review, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well.